So this is an issue at all ages. Underuse of epinephrine has been shown in every study, whether it's infants, toddlers, adults. I mean, in these studies that were reviewed, epinephrine was more often to be used the older the child is. And so one thing that was a takeaway from that is, infants shouldn't be treated any differently. If we think they're having anaphylaxis, they should get epinephrine. And so that's one of the main takeaways. But anything that we can do to increase use. So whether that's novel forms of epinephrine, whether that's just education that epinephrine is safe when it's used in the auto-injector form, for example, it is not dangerous, that the doses we use are not going to harm the child, education on when and how to use it so they feel more comfortable. And it's really fascinating. One of the studies that we reviewed in these papers that has been shown in other studies is that if a clinician goes through giving epinephrine with a parent during an allergic reaction, such as during a food challenge in clinic, all studies show that parents feel more comfortable than giving epinephrine on their own. It's when they've seen one or give one in the clinic, they feel more comfortable. So all these little education pieces to show parents it's not a big deal and that it's not harmful and to get a comfortability with it, all of these things go into increasing epinephrine use, hopefully. Not many studies show that it's helpful. One of the studies we reviewed in one of these plain language summary papers was that this study did show that parents were more likely to use epinephrine if they had an action plan available. That would suggest that action plans do play a role, but there's not really good, other studies to show if we randomize a patient, giving one patient family an action plan and one patient family don't give them an action plan. There haven't been studies to show that that would truly make a difference, but this study did suggest that if a parent has one, they are more likely to use it. The epinephrine, I mean. There's not one single answer, I don't think. I mean, whatever training we can get. So in some forms, that's a physician or nurse practitioner going to, a school districts and talking to all the school district nurses. That can be one way. You can have videos that they can watch that teach them about this. You can even have parents, and so in our school district, we have parent volunteers as a part of a lay organization go into schools and give education on food allergy and epinephrine use. I don't think there's a one size fits all. It's any way that we can deliver that messaging or deliver that education we believe can be helpful. Probably the best evidence we have, and it's now incorporated into our allergy anaphylaxis guidelines or practice parameters, is that to recommend for what's called stock epinephrine. And stock epinephrine means a school, for example, can have epinephrine available without a prescription that any child can use, whether or not we knew they had a food allergy or a bee sting allergy. That epinephrine can be used on any child at any time if the nurse or somebody thinks it's appropriate. It's the same idea of having defibrillators in stadiums that anyone can use if someone has a heart attack. So it's allowing for global use of a single epinephrine to use on anyone, or having stock epinephrine available, probably in the system-wide intervention would have the biggest impact. Well, I think that it's really important because newer guidelines for food allergy have suggested early introduction of allergenic foods, meaning getting foods into the diet, even something like peanut, which we used to say don't feed kids. We're now saying, please feed kids as early as 6 months, as long as it's not a choking hazard. So I think the increased awareness goes along with that early introduction of foods, because we may see some reactions by doing that, and having an increased education and awareness will be very, very helpful.